it's very clear that there's a high source of heavy metals in our environment that's increasing at an exponential rate, that even me in, again, last 10, 15 years of just seeing these labs over and over, and seeing it constantly with everyone now. And where is it coming from? Well, it goes back to the story of industry, and how, taking fluoride, for example, which is more documented, more accepted, and where a lot of actual states have now outlawed it, right? So like Florida was one of the first ones a couple months ago, but many others have
Yeah.
joined that. And it's because the aluminum industry has fluoride as a byproduct, and they would usually have to spend tons of money to be able to dispose of it properly. So they resell it to industry to then really sell it to our government to put it back into our water supply for our own health. But, there's obviously problems with that. It's not just topical. We're taking it orally. It's affecting our iodine and thyroid production, our brain health in many different ways here. But the same thing's going on with these metals. And this is the scary part, is that, these industries have these metal byproducts, and it would cost a lot of money to be able to get rid of it. And what I understand about it is that they are selling it back, and they're throwing it into the skies as geoengineering to be able to help manipulate the weather, they say. But I have a lot of speculations on that and concerns about that, because I really don't think that's the whole picture. And I think there is a financial incentive here. It's obviously not good for our health.
Right. Yeah. When you say financial incentive, I think about, Big Pharma and everything they're doing, and how, it's not healthcare, it's sick care, and they make money off us being sick. And they make even more money off throwing this shit at the wall and hoping it sticks type symptom, fixing thing. Right. And it just turns out that, like, that's a very profitable model for them. It's just crazy, the amount of money that's spent in that world, of just pushing medicines on people, and what it's really doing to not only the physical body, but the psychology of what that implies, because people can be like, oh, well, if I don't feel well, let's go to the doctor, I take a pill, and everything will get better. You know what I mean? And always this exogenous thing that's supposedly going to help them. But I think that there's definitely an internal battle that's happening in with all of us too, because we're so caught up in just our lives, and being busy or whatever that all is, and
Totally.
And now with social media, it's even worse, because comparison is a thief of joy, and it's so hard not to create that when you jump on. Even back in the day, like MTV Cribs, like that's when it first started, right? We see all these people, rappers and artists, making all this money and like living the lifestyle they live. And now you see that shit on social media, and it's even worse, because people are obviously more glued to it than ever. But people are showing even more of their lives, and what they show isn't really the truth, right? You're seeing these glimpses of people's lives of glamour, but in reality, like, for example, like Justin Bieber or whatever, like you think this dude's rich and famous, but then all this stuff that's come out, and you see the videos out now, you're like, dude, this guy's, he's fucked. Like, what the, they're all fucked, like, and you see them, it's like, woo. So yeah, man.
That line, by the way, and he sleeps in his hyperbaric, so he's kind of gotten into the health journey himself, and I think awoken through some of his own suffering and pain. And I think a lot of us are awakening in that way. And I have a lot of compassion for where we're at right now in society, and I understand that life is really hard, and people's brains are really inflamed, and they just want answers, and they do just want a quick fix and a pill that's going to magically take things away. And I totally connect with that desire. But the reality is that, when you take a quick fix, it's causing other problems and issues. And, a lot of the solutions from the pharmaceutical realm are just knocking down that inflammation, taking a steroid, and steroids mimicking our own endogenous cortisol system, right? Which throws us into fight or flight. It gets us to run away from that tiger, knocks down the fire, but also drains all our hormones and drains our immune system, drains our energy systems, and throws our blood sugar way higher. And so I had a patient yesterday even that he has been on a steroid, and they said his adrenals don't work. And so instead of taking all the adaptogenic herbs and tonics to really rebuild things little bit by little bit, they're just shooting the synthetic hormone up, and they feel good, but they're running on a credit card. They're running
Right.
out of debt. And that energy doesn't come from nowhere. Energy is coming from our metabolic reserve, our adrenal reserve, our
Yes.
kidney jing, and it's being
Yes.
drained. And then, they then are getting diabetes because their blood sugar is so much higher when you have all that
Right.
steroid, that cortisol in the system. And then when they do come off of it, they're worse off than they've ever been. And then I'm coming
Yeah.
in here months, years down the road to try to put back the pieces when, if you
Oof.
could just have addressed initially, it could have been an easy fix, putting them on
Right.
some of these tonics and adrenal supports. But even the adrenals here, what I'm seeing is such a superficial fix. And, people are doing all these tonic herbs and other things. And I think that's so great and so important. And they're going to integrated doctors, and they're being put on all these supplements to get their energies up, and the NAD and the hormones and the adaptogens.